Good day, YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. We're doing the final pieces for inside the ship. Of course, I came up with some other ideas. You see, we used a drill to create these reels. The very end there is glued, so it won't come unravel. And we got some crates done, glued up. The only other thing I did different was I took my pencil and went sideways across the corners all the way around, and that gave it an edge of the board look, which I think better than just the rectangles in there and the squares. That line on the edge of the corner made it pop. Then we stacked up some lumber, glued that up, tied a band around it. We got 3 different piles of lumber. These are planking boards here, so in case they run across the reef or something. And these are for yard arms or lifting things. I was going to add a lifting arm for the jolly boat instead of using them big ropes up there. I think it wouldn't be too hard to get in here and put a lifting arm, something like one of these gaffs, but a short one, and suspend it with some of that big rope up top, and then get a double block and tackle pulleys coming off of it, so they could actually pick the jolly boats up and swing them out over the side without doing a lot of manhandling. That would look cool, I think, because right now they're just strapped down to the deck. But I think if we enhanced it by adding a double block and pulley and make it look like it's there for lifting. So we did finish putting the barrels in. So now I got to touch these up with some black, make them look like this one. And that'll set off the rope on the reel the way it looks. And then we'll start gluing these in. And we got a little pile of chain here that we put some super glue on. Put that in there somewhere. So the further along I went, the more ideas I came up with. So I think that's going to help fill up some of the things that we need to do inside there. I still don't have any lighting figured out yet. but these will look pretty cool in there. Shipping the rope. I pulled this one out just to see what it would look like and broke it loose where it was glued on in there. And then put it on the drill and wound it up at about like three wraps on there, 3 layers thick. So it looks pretty good. I think I'm gonna do a couple more of those that are already glued in. We got some there that are really accessible in the front. We can grab and pull them out. Put some other color ropes on them. So, keep putzing away. Things inside the ship. There's that rope I had back there in the corner. It was piled up for years. That's what I wrapped those reels with. What do you think? A little counterweight there. Now here in Florida this week we've had a cold snap come in. Supposedly this Sunday coming up, we're going to see some freezing temperatures. So we're going to let that dry before we take it off of there. Yeah, I got my greenhouse all closed up, and then my wife bought some of this netting stuff off the internet for covering your plants when it gets freezing cold out, because most of our stuff is tropical. And right now it's about 60 degrees. A couple days ago it got down to 40. But supposedly Sunday coming it's going to get below 32 degrees. So we stuck these on there, all our plants in the backyard. And we got a magnolia, a young magnolia that we planted in the front yard. We covered up, and some philodendrons, some other stuff that's susceptible to freeze. So we got like that's 7 foot wide by 150 feet. And we got another package that was 7 foot wide by 75 feet. So it was enough to do all the plants in the backyard and a couple in the front. So all around the porch, all the roses, everything's covered up. So hopefully we'll make it through this winter. Never know anymore. My camera stand's coming loose. There we go. So there's another one of them. Look pretty cool, eh? I got this idea from another YouTube model maker, and he was building a river paddle boat, steamboat, and he was putting together some things to put on the deck. He was near done like I am on mine, and I saw him just stack up a bunch of wood and put some spacers in there and then tie it off, make it look like you're shipping some lumber. So that gave me another item to put in there, using up some of the scrap I had. I got a lot more, but we don't want to put too much in there. There won't be no room left by the time we go. We're having fun trying to figure out a place to put all this stuff, ain't we? But I think I'm going to run to the Hobby Lobby and try to find some lights that I can use. And I still got to paint these edges here, I think, with this tan color. I could sand them off, but it's going to make a mess, sawdust everywhere. And a paint it's just as easy. Doesn't make a mess. There's the breadfruit plants up in there. And we got the anchor ropes glued down. So it's looking pretty good, I think. Start sticking some of this in there. One at a time. We all got I think I want to put those in there flat instead of standing up. Yeah, right there. Crates, stacks of wood, barrels, reels of rope, and some chain. Yep, right here near the front and the back of the ship. So we got her populated with stuff. Now the one thing I want to do, other than lighting, is some hammocks. And I think I'm going to hang those hammocks in this open area here in the middle. So we got a stack of wood in the back over there, and a stack of yard arm material. Another stack of wood there, and a stack of wood here. Bunch of crates. Yeah, filled it right up. Filled it right up. Not much floor space left for putting stuff. But that's what we wanted to do. Sort of cluttered looking, but a lot of detail. You can't really see this top deck near as good as the lower ones because of the angle you're at when you're looking at the ship. Unless we put this in a display case that's really high off the floor, like the one in the house I got. It's way up there. The hull of the ship is about eye level when you're standing in the room looking at it, the Cutty Sark. There's some videos on my channel that show the no building part of it, but the a little rundown on the case and the display inside. And because I did that one like 6-8 years ago, maybe more, 10 years ago. But I like the look that we've achieved on the inside of the ship. Now we got to get some lights. And boy, that's going to be fun. It's just a matter of stringing them through. I want to try to put 2 rows on the top, another 2 rows underneath this first deck, and if there's any left over lengthwise, I'll put a little piece underneath this front edge here, and just to throw some light down into the areas where you can't see anything. But we definitely need 2 rows in the middle deck, one in the back, all the way back, all along the back, and then one near the front in about a ½ inch or so, so we can display the floor below it. And installation is going to be a trick we haven't figured out yet. Super glue and hold it up with a stick, let it dry. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. Okay, we found some lights, and I got a hot glue gun, a little dab of glue on our glue pad, and very quickly, because you don't have very much time, get some of that glue on a stick, and then take something and hold it up there, and then get some of that glue on the ceiling of that beam, and then cut these little spider webs coming off. I was at the Florida Flywheel event last Saturday, or that was Saturday I was before that. Found these cutters. They were like $1. or no, $3 for these and $1 for spinner. And these are longer than my regular nippers, made by a different company, but he had a whole bin full of them. I don't know where they're made at. Oh, USA. What do you know? The cutting jaw is longer and the handles are longer, so these are perfect for cutting hairs off up in there. So this string of lights I found is only a couple feet long, maybe 3 feet, but I poked the first light on the string, which is the last light on the string, down here through one of them square holes in the ceiling. Glued that, and that's going to light up the front part of that lower deck. Then we run up behind that beam and glue the second one on, and then we'll do the same thing as we come across here and stretch these out and glue them on up high. That should light up the whole area of that top deck inside there. Then once we get over here, I'll probably have to cut this anyway because I want this outside of the ship. This little battery box, it's got the switch on it. We'll cut this and resplice it later on, but we want to run down into this lower deck and come across and do the same thing in the lower deck. And if there's enough here, which I think there is, time we go down and across, we might even have enough to poke one underneath here where this stairway is. I have to see how it goes once we get spread out. I might be able to go down early near that mast, because we're going to be running across underneath this lip of this deck here where it simulates the deck goes all the way across, but it doesn't. We'll go across there. We might have enough where we can get one underneath here and one underneath here in the very bottom deck, at the bottom of the ship. We'll see how that goes once we get across the top level. But I think these lights are going to work good. They look like a flame, and they light up they light up in there pretty good. So that's gonna work, I think. We just gotta very carefully stretch and glue and tack it in place. So the next glue spot probably right here on the end of that roof beam. So I want to get glue up behind the end of that beam and then be able to hold that up in there. Maybe I could just dab a blob of glue on the wire and then hold it up in there. That might work. Let's get another dab of glue on the board here. And then with my tweezers and my stick, oh my gosh, I lost my stick. We gotta work fast because this glue sets pretty quick. I got the lights off in the shed so we can see with a camera. Yeah. So we cut them spider webs off and go across there. Well, this will work. I think this will work good. So we definitely got to cut our lines and splice them with some quick disconnects. And this is like 22 gauge, 24 gauge wire, pretty small. And we want to do them one at a time because it's being DC and being the LED light in the string, you can't reverse the polarity. So these are called a female disconnect and a fork, and you can use them as a removable splice, and it grabs pretty good. So we just got to crimp and because it's power coming from the battery, you want to put the fork on the side that goes to the lights. And logically, those connectors are the fork and the female disconnect are made for a bigger wire, being as this is like 24 gauge American wire gauge. We're going to take and strip them off a little longer and bend them over so we got more wire to go in that hole when we crimp. It's going to grab it better than if it was just a single line. You always want to put the bump of your crimpers on the back. You see the connector or the fork has got, both of them have a seam where they're manufactured, and that seam is on the top here. You don't want to put the bump of your connectors in that seam. You want to put it on the back so that when it crushes it, it doesn't separate that seam, because you've got the cup part of your crimpers keeping that seam together. So the crimp takes place in the back instead of the spot where the seam is at. You can see that seam in there, I think. And it'll be the same with these. The seam will be on the top. Yeah, you can see it through the plastic there. So what that allows us to do is, I'm actually getting ahead of myself here, but what that allows us to do is take this end and drill a hole in this deck here somewhere and get that end through and underneath. And then we got to get it out the back somewhere, or the bottom. The other side is planked all the way up, so we can probably get it out the bottom near where the keel is, behind this keel beam, and then we'll put the crimper and connectors on there, and that'll allow us to run this so that we can have this battery box outside and on the back. And we'll probably make, when we build this stand for this thing, we'll make a little place to hide that box so we can still reach in there and turn it on. So that's the plan so far. But we got the top part run all the way across. I just took that on there. So you can see the top part is glued all the way across. So now we want to get this line down into that next level and run it across. Do the same kind of glue that we were doing earlier. Now if you look at this wire very closely, one side's got little white dots on it and the other side doesn't. So that gives us a polarity that we can not have to worry about marking these, because I'm going to have to cut this one off and do a new one. I've got more of them over there. But that way we can do the splicing on the outside of the ship and not worry about the polarity being wrong, because it's marked. One of these lines has got little white dots on it, and we just match that up with the other one over here. Okay, so we got the battery box out the bottom here. The last light is up there behind the stairway. So we just got to make a place to hide that in the stand that we build for the ship. And we've got them all tacked up to the ceiling with the hot glue gun. We drilled a hole back here to get in to the middle, so we're not out in the front of this opening here. And did the same thing on this side. Went behind the mast, went behind the main mast, went behind the stairway, and we drilled a hole over there so we could get from the top down to the bottom. So now let's turn the lights off in the shop here. And turn that light off on the camera. And now let's put this like it's gonna set. Let's see here. I've got a bunch of blocks propping it up so it would sit sideways. We'll set it back down in the stand. Oh yeah. So from your view of your eyes at face level, you're not really going to be able to see the bulbs. That's the idea. You only want to see the light that the bulbs are flashing or shining. And we're getting a good coverage in these areas. Yeah, I like the way it's highlighting the stuff on the inside. Good coverage where the breadfruit plants are, and the pile of lumber we made, and the crates and the drums. We get a good view into that little room that's back in there behind that main mast, and an overall view of the drums and reels down in the hold of the ship. We can see all the stuff that we've stuck up on that upper deck. And we can see all the stuff. There's that one light there I don't like, but I could have put it down near the bottom of the stairway, but then you would have seen the wire, and putting it over here, it sort of hides the wire, but now the light is visible through this opening here. So I might change that, because we got this other light that's on the very end of the string that's lighting up this floor area, and it wouldn't hurt to pull that down so it's behind those crates. Yeah, I think I might change that where it's down behind the crates instead of up there at the top of the stairway. But it does look pretty good. All the different areas are lit up in there. We got a good bulb behind these two windows. You'll be able to see on both sides. That's right in the middle there. It's lighting up the windows good. The only thing I didn't account for was lights inside those lanterns there. Yeah, we might come back to that, but the objective that I wanted to achieve today, I have achieved. See if I can block the light to this window here. Does that look any better? Yeah, with that window blocked. It's not near as much light coming in from the window. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I like it. Oops. Wooden model ship. HMS Bounty. On the final legs. Gotta put the flag on and do some block and tackles for those jolly boats and longboat. And any other details that we've missed so far, we haven't even think about the other stuff. I just get focused on one thing and get that done, and we did get it done. It looks pretty cool. Cutaway view with lighting. Might be able to take some little blocks of wood and put in front of a couple of those bulbs, and that'll help block the actual bulb shining in your eye. Because this level that we're at here, and the face, you know, where you're facing it from viewing it, you would normally be up like this, looking at it, which is great for highlighting what's inside there. So I don't know if I'm going to worry about that or not. Thanks for watching.